Chicken piccata is a great dish with a little mashed potatoes, but it's summertime and we're on the grill. I'm going to show you a recipe that keeps you outside. Let's get cooking with style. So to do this piccata, you want to start the sauce first because the chicken is going to cook very quickly. I've got my grill on high. I'm going to set this pan. Make sure you keep the handle off the flame because you're going to touch that and it's going to burn a little bit. To this, I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil and then the rest of the ingredients. So I've got my green onions. I sliced them on an angle because I kind of like that look. We're going to put just about a tablespoon of garlic in there. And I'm going to season that lightly with a heavy pinch of salt and 3 or 4 twists of the pepper. Get that going. This will just, we're just going to saute this lightly. Now for the chicken breast. So you can buy these. They've got these really nicely set up at the grocery store where you can buy them already scalloped or filleted like this. But if you don't want to spend the extra money, I'm going to show you really quickly how to do this here. And keep in mind, you want to do this on a board that is not going to be in contact with the rest of the food. So we're going to slice these on an angle, like so. Nice little scallop like that, like that. These are about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch thick, and you can see how nicely those look. We'll take these and lay these out, and to this, I'm going to drizzle some olive oil over the top of those, and then I'm going to lightly season them. So we'll take our olive oil, and obviously there's no rhyme, no reason to this as far as, you know, it has to be perfect. Just get it over all of the chicken, and then again, a good healthy pinch of salt on this, and then we're going to come back, and this is kind of a medium coarse pepper over this. I like this to be more of a rustic looking kind of dish. And now to get it on both sides, you're saying, well, God, do you have to turn everything over? No, you don't. Just kind of move everything around, get it in there, cover all the chicken with the oil, and I've pre-oiled my grill. But in case you don't do this, let me show you a trick that I have. I just keep a rag like this, nice and oily, and then I just run it over the grill. And this rag is just that, it's a rag. And you don't want to, you know, put something out there that's nice. Okay, to this, I'm just gonna put my chicken right on the grill. And keep in mind, I've got this on a medium-high heat so I can get those nice grill marks. And we'll get this chicken on, be about 3 or 4 minutes, and then we'll turn these. So I'll get this going, and I'll be back with you in just a bit. So we're just about ready to turn these. Let's take a quick look. There we go. So I want you to turn these a 45 so we get those cool little restaurant-style grill marks on here. And you see how nice that looks? So then I'm going to put it across that way so I get the opposite grill marks, and this will really dress up what we're doing here. I'm going to get these turned, and then while I do that, I'm going to also put a splash of white wine. I want you to use a dry white wine. You're going to put about 1/2 cup in there and let that simmer while the rest of this chicken cooks. So we've had about 6 to 8 minutes on this side getting those double grill marks, and look how cool that looks. I mean, that just looks like it's coming right out of a restaurant. I've got my eye on my sauce. This side, though, is not going to be nearly as long because I don't want to overcook this chicken. So we're going to have this on here for maybe 2 more minutes on this side, and then we'll start plating everything up and finishing the sauce. So let's finish up this sauce, and then we'll pull all that chicken. If you have one of these great squeezers, they're great. We're putting the lemon in last because we want that bright lemony flavor. We don't want it to be cooked lemon sauce. To that, I'm going to add my zest of lemon. I've got my capers right here, about a tablespoon, and then on top of that, I'm going to take about 3 tablespoons of parsley, and we're going to finish it with the butter. We're going to put the butter in. It's slightly chilled, but not cold, okay? And make sure you keep your eye on that handle. Don't overcook the butter because then it'll break and it won't be creamy. Let's pull this chicken off here, and we're going to do a little presentation. So, you know, of course we want it to look good. So we've got a nice little platter here. And we'll put this out, put our little bits and pieces, put the nice scallops in there like so. I'll finish getting this off the grill, and then I'll show you the final touches to to make everything look fantastic. All right, so we've got that sauce. You see how the butter is still kind of creamy over the top? So we give this a nice swirl, and then we're just gonna ladle this right over the top, the beautiful onions and the capers. We'll put that over the top. We've got this beautiful sauce. Serve this up with maybe a little bit of pasta or a little sort of mashed potato type dish. I'm telling you what, this is casual elegance here on Cooking with Styles. So this is a summer type dish for a traditional dish, piccata, but we throw it on the grill and whip it up, put that fresh, beautiful, bright sauce on there. Grilled chicken piccata coming your way from Cooking with Styles. I love hamburgers and I love Italian food, so I decided to put them together, so I made an Italian hamburger. It's easy, simple, and super tasty. Let's get cooking with Styles. Italian hamburgers, I like to use the 90% instead of the 80% ground beef because I've got a lot of fat in the sausage here. So it's equal ratio, 1 pound of beef, 1 pound of sausage. And there's no way around this. You just kind of have to get your hands in there and mix it around. Now, obviously, if you've got more people, you use more sausage in burger, or if you have less people, you use less. Just make sure you incorporate it really well. And we're gonna make half-pound burgers here. We're gonna get big. We're gonna make nice, juicy, big burgers. And remember, because there's more fat in it, it's going to shrink a little bit more. So keep that in mind. And I think everyone's made a burger before. There's no trick to this, no fancy way of doing it. Just pat it out and make yourself a nice, thick, big burger. Make sure it's large enough to encompass your bun. All right, I've got at least 2 done. So I'm gonna just lightly season the side that's gonna go on the grill with a little bit of salt. And I'm gonna just place it gently on the grill and lay these on. Don't press them on because then they'll squish down through the grills. All right, so we're gonna let these cook for a good 4 to 5 minutes till we get a nice char on that side. While that's happening, I'm gonna also get my veggies going. I'm gonna put a little bit of olive oil and soy sauce over the top of my vegetables here, bell peppers and onions, and we'll get those on the grill as well so we can have some nice grilled vegetables. And we're only gonna turn these once. I'm pretty sure we're ready to make a turn here. Yeah, that's looking perfect. And we lightly seasoned this side too. Let's get these veggies turned. And don't forget, on the turn is when you put the cheese on your burger. And to be Italian, you have to put a little mozzarella on top. And put that like so, and that'll start to melt. We'll close the lid at the very end. So I closed the lid for the last minute or so, and we'll get all this off the grill. Peppers, onions, and of course, the burgers. Look at that mozzarella cheese, how nice and gooey it is. And I hope you're like me, you toast your buns, and I'm talking about your bread buns here, so we can assemble this. So let's take our bun, we'll take our burger. Now what I like to do is I like to take my olive oil mayonnaise and put a little crushed red peppers in it, kind of spice it up just a little bit. So now we take our peppers, we put that pepper on top, we take some of those onions, put them over there like so, and then I take the top of my bun and put a nice healthy portion of mayonnaise on there. And then to that, I add a beautiful heirloom tomato, season that up just a little bit. No lettuce, no mustard, hamburguesa italiano. How about that? Does that look good? That's a little bit different, huh? Casual elegance here on Cooking with Styles. Italian hamburgers, who would have thunk, huh? Tired of the same old teriyaki chicken? How about a Hawaiian BBQ chicken? Huli Huli chicken. I'm telling you, this recipe's super easy and you've probably never had it. Let's get cooking with Styles with Huli Huli chicken. Chicken Huli Huli is just basically in a Hawaiian barbecue sauce. I've got some garlic, ginger, and brown sugar. And then the other ingredients, the main ones, are gonna be ketchup, soy. I use low sodium because there's a lot of salt in the ketchup. cooking sherry, and if you want to spice it up a little bit, sriracha, if you can find it, and then of course water. I've gone ahead and mixed it up, and I saved half for basting. The other half, I put in a whole bag of chicken in this, and it's marinated for probably 2 to 3 hours. Don't marinate it longer than that because it'll start to dry the chicken off. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and open this up and make sure you use separate tongs. I want you to oil your grill, okay? And I like to use a rag that I use all the time because you're just gonna ruin it. And so we've got that there like that. And now we're just gonna start putting our chicken in, and we're gonna let it brown on one side. So we get these going. And we've got it on a medium heat right now, because we're gonna let it cook basically all on one side. All right, I'll get the rest of these on the grill and we'll check it in about 7-8 minutes. You gotta know your grill, and I know mine. The back is always hotter, so let's turn these. Yeah, see a nice char there. I'm gonna get some basting on that. I'll look at these, but probably not. Yeah, well, we'll let that one go. The rest I'll turn in the back and then I'll shift them around. Now you really gotta make sure that you baste this chicken with this Huli Huli sauce. And I'm only basting on the cooked side. I don't want to touch the raw side with this base because we're eventually going to drizzle this back over the top, and I'll get all the little chips of ginger and garlic to get it up on this chicken, and we're almost ready to pull this off. Probably another 2 or 3 minutes and this will be done. One thing I really want to point out here is I've been using these tongs to turn the chicken when it was raw. Now that it's cooked, I'm going to use a fresh set of tongs so I don't contaminate my chicken. So you can see how nice these have turned out. We're just going to put them on the platter here. We're looking for an internal temperature of about 165 degrees or so, maybe 164. Just want to make sure the chicken's cooked all the way through. Now you could do this with chicken breast, but I'm telling you, it's a totally different animal when you go with the chicken breast because those tend to dry out. And I really prefer the flavor and the texture that you get. You can't get away, get up over here. The texture that you get with the chicken thighs. And then I'm gonna just take a little bit more of this and drizzle it over the top. And I'll also serve this up on the side for the bees like it. And you remember those scallions that we saved from a couple shows ago? We're gonna sprinkle those over the top. Color, contrast, and flavor. Nothing like a little onion on your Huli Huli chicken. All right, that's some elevated Hawaiian barbecue here on Cooking with Styles. Huli Huli chicken. Football season has arrived, and you're probably thinking, what can I make that's different for the halftime break? Well, I have got a great dish here. I'm calling these Hawaiian Sliders, and they are really, really cool. Let's get cooking with style. Making this all happen, these Hawaiian sliders, is kind of getting everything in place. So we're going to prep the pineapple and the rolls first. With the rolls, what I want you to do is leave them whole, and we're just going to take a knife like this, and careful with your hand, okay? And just be gentle. We're going to cut the whole thing in half, and I'm using this nice big bread knife to do this all the way through because we're going to be making sliders. You see how we got that right there? So we'll just take the rolls right here, and we're just going to brush it lightly with a little bit of olive oil, both sides. We're going to throw that on the grill as well. With the pineapple, what I've done is I've skinned it and I've cut out the center part that's really tough. We're going to make nice, about 1/2-inch slices here, and we're going to put a little bit of olive oil on these guys as well, and they're going to go on the grill with our buns. So we're just about there. Be careful because the pineapple can be a little slippery. All right, on we go here. And now we're ready to get this stuff grilled up. We'll put a little bit of olive oil on top of these. I know it doesn't sound like something you would normally do, but because we're grilling and there's a lot of sugar in here, it'll stick if you don't do that. And again, I know it doesn't sound right, but just put a little sprinkle of that kosher salt on top. All right, I'm gonna pop these on the grill real quick here. Put the pineapples in the back here. And all we're trying to do is get some grill marks on this and caramelization. Now you got to be careful with the rolls because these will cook very, very quick. One got away, but not for long. So we're going to let those brown. Got my eye on the pineapple. We're going to go for the flip here. There we go. See, nice and brown. And we'll put the bottom on now. There we go. So now that's going to take just a second or two longer. Let's work on our pineapple. I'm going to give that a little bit longer. Let those pineapple cook a little bit longer. Let's check our rolls real quick. I think these are done. Yeah, there we go. Rolls looking good. All right, while the pineapple gets going, let's get our burger meat ready. And because it's going to be a very interesting process, we're going to season everything first. So I've got a little kosher salt, I've got some garlic powder, onion powder, and black pepper. And we're using about a pound and a quarter of ground meat. And I'm going to take this and go ahead and mix it up. I mean, everyone knows how to do this. So we're just, and you could use the 80% ground beef, or you could go with the 90%. This one just happens to be the 90%. All right, so now this is where it kind of gets interesting. We're going to take that spatula and we're going to coat the bottom of our cookie sheet really well, because this is how we're going to get this burger. And you're saying, wait, the burger? Yeah, we're doing one giant burger like this. We're just going to flatten it out to equal the size of our bun, and then we're going to put the whole thing on the grill. And because it's already pre-seasoned, we won't have to worry about seasoning the opposite side. And we'll just let this whole thing cook on the grill, flip it with our cookie sheet, and we'll have one giant burger to go on all our rolls. Okay, let's see if this works. Voila. So we've got the last pineapple coming off the grill right now, and you can see that beautiful little caramelization on the top. Now let's try to do something that is easier than it looks, the flip. So we get our cookie sheet underneath like that, and you got to be gentle here. So I'm going to use this guy right here, another spatula. Voila! All right, we're almost there with the sliders. All right, our burger is done, and hopefully we measured this correctly. Looks pretty good there. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to whip up a little bit of mayonnaise, but I'm going to use this really cool chili garlic sauce the Sriracha company makes. And this is going to go, and you see how simple that is. I mean, you can't get any simpler than that. We're just going to take a swath of it. Kind of almost looks like someone's secret sauce, a local company. Giacomo might have been the guy that had that. Then we're going to take a little bit of, let's take a little bit of our barbecue sauce, and we're going to take a squirt of that on each one. And then in between that, we're going to take our pineapple that's grilled and a little slice on every bite, because this is a Hawaiian slider. And to finish it off, what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of cilantro that I've got off to the side here, and we'll just sprinkle that over the top, and then that will be our finishing little garnish for that. We'll just put those over the top and kind of just randomly wherever it goes. There's no really rhyme or reason. Some people don't like cilantro, so check with them first. And we'll just take this guy. We got that one, we got the one that's a little wild there. There we go. So you're saying, well, what are you going to do with that? Here's what we're going to do. This is perfect for football season. That's why I'm doing it. So cut there, cut there, cut there, and then one more cut there and there. You put a plate of this out for folks, and they are going to love you for it. Use that big spatula again on your top like so. Here are some Hawaiian sliders, a perfect break for halftime when you're watching the big game football. We are in the middle of the season, cooking with styles. Football season deserves football-style food, and I've got a California cheesesteak sandwich that you're gonna love. Let's get cooking with style. Putting this California cheesesteak sandwich together is really kind of a progression, and we want to let our meat rest, so we're going to start that first. I'm just going to take a little bit of olive oil and drizzle it over the top. That way I can get a nice little caramelization with the meat and the seasoning coming out. A little black pepper and salt. Nothing fancy here. It's all going to be in the ingredients that go in, and I'll season the other side when we flip it in. So we're going to put it seasoned side down on the grill like so. And as advertised, I'm gonna put a little bit more of that olive oil over the top with my salt and pepper. And what we're aiming for here is like a medium rare, and we're gonna let that get going. The next step is getting the bread. Bread is a key ingredient in a sandwich. Use good bread. I mean, anyone can make meat and put it in a bread, but if you get good bread, that's the way to go. This is bread and C, and I'm gonna take some of that sriracha mayo that we had, and I'm gonna put it on top here, and we're gonna grill this with that sriracha mayo on there. And we'll go ahead and do this next to the steak, and then this will all be ready to go, and then my vegetables will go on next after I get this bread a nice little grill mark on it. So we're gonna put these guys right here, and we'll let those brown up. It's gonna take a few minutes, so hang in there. All right, this bread is ready to come off the grill. There we go, nice and toasty brown. We're not done with it yet though. There's gonna be some cheese on this cheesesteak sandwich. Let's look at the steak here real quick. Yeah, give it just a couple more minutes. Since we're going for medium rare, let's take a look. There you go. Another about 3-4 minutes on that side, we'll be good to go. Our steak is done, but first let's get our vegetables started. We'll put the grilled onions on right here. They're not grilled yet, but they will be soon. And I'm also gonna get my cheese bread and peppers on here as well. Off comes the steak. Remember, it's important to let this rest. And we're gonna put our peppers on. I've tossed them already with a little bit of olive oil and some salt. And we're just gonna put those on and spread them out. We're not gonna even turn them once, we'll just let them go. So put the lid down and let that get going. All right, let's move our onions to the back and get our cheese bread on. There we go. Move those guys forward. We're cooking on a medium-high heat back there, so keep an eye on that stuff. And now in goes the cheese bread. Indirect heat, the cheese will melt, and we'll have our cheesesteak sandwiches. All right, let's get this stuff off the grill. Onions looking good. Nice turn, caramelization, char on those guys. If I can get them off the grill, huh? There we go, looking good. Now with these chilies, this particular grill, if you've got, oh, there, we just lost one. These grills are not conducive to this, so I would not cut, there goes another one. I would not cut them in half. I would leave them whole and then split them. I was trying to save myself a little bit of work. And then let's get our cheese bread off. You remember this? We made cheese bread, garlic cheese bread. Well, this is a sriracha cheese bread. And we're gonna put our steak on there. All right, let's start assembling this. So we've got our steak pretty much sliced up here. What I like to do is make sure it's medium rare and slice it as thin as you can. Keep your eye on your fingers so you don't accidentally cut yourself. You want to get this to the table. All right, so we're going to take our cheese bread. Make sure you get your top and bottom there. We're going to assemble this. Now we're just going to take our steak and lay it right down the center. I mean, this is football food at its finest. We're kind of going up and over the top there with this sirloin, but you know, what are friends for? You want to have a great cheesesteak sandwich, and since we're doing it Cali style, we just don't take that thin shaved stuff and go for it from there. Okay, so now we've got this ready here. Now for the onions, we're gonna just leave them kind of whole, and just remember, these are pretty hot coming off the grill, so you want to be careful not to burn yourself, because I already kind of am here. And then our peppers are going to go on top of that. And I just like leaving them whole like so. Putting them in, layering them in nicely. So everybody gets a little bit of that. And then on top of that, take our bread, put it on like so. And then since this is for the whole crew, what you want to do is take it. All right, and cut them on the angle. They look a heck of a lot better. Now, is that a cheesesteak sandwich or what? We're gonna grill up a steak and serve it with a garlic herb butter, and I'm gonna show you the difference between a porterhouse and a T-bone. I went to Cecil's Meat to get one of the best cuts in town. Let's get cooking with Styles. I'm gonna confess, I'm a carnivore and I love meat, but I don't eat a lot of it, so when I do, I make sure it is absolutely perfect. And that's why I go to Cecil's Meat or Iowa Meats, and I get one of my favorite cuts, which is this, a porterhouse. Now, in case you don't know what a porterhouse is, it's actually 2 cuts of meat in one. It's the filet mignon and then the New York strip. Now, you can get a T-bone, but it's gonna have maybe just a sliver of that filet mignon. So that's why I say go with the porterhouse, and sometimes they'll both be on sale at the same time at the same price. Always, always buy the porterhouse. Let's get this on the grill because this is going to take a lot longer. You can see how thick that guy is. That's going to be beautiful once we're done here. So a little olive oil over the top, and we're going to just give that a little swirl over the top with that. A light seasoning of salt and pepper because we're going to put that garlic herb butter when it's all finished. We'll do one side, flip it over, and get the other side, and get this on the grill, and get things rolling, and then we'll come back and do the herb garlic butter, which is really, really versatile. Okay. Salt over the top. Let's get this on the grill here. And I've got this on a medium-high grill because we don't want this to get too burned. There we go. All right, let's do this garlic herb butter. So I've got my butter softened up here, and it's really, really simple. So we're going to take some fresh herbs, and you can use anything you want, but I'm going to go with a little bit of parsley here, and we're going to take some fresh basil. You could do thyme, you could do tarragon, you could do a variety of things. I'm going to also add a little bit of oregano, and I'm just going to take this and I'm going to medium chop it, not coarse and not fine, because we want it when we get into the butter and we have a bite of something, we want to taste it. And we're going to do about a teaspoon of each. So clearly I have way too much herbs here. We'll set those off to the side, and we'll give this, as I said, a medium to medium fine chop. And if some of the pieces are bigger, don't worry about it. Just get it all chopped up there. And then to our butter, along with these herbs, we're going to take a couple other things. In go our herbs. And the great thing about this butter is you can save it and freeze it. I like to take it and roll it up, and then when I have something, I just take it out, cut a piece off, and there we go. So to this, I'm going to add my shallots and garlic. In those go, and we just give this a nice stir. Now, don't go with unsalted if you don't add salt, but you can just go with salted butter, and then you don't have to add the salt. And for this dish, we're not going to put this in that roll. We're going to leave it soft like this, so when we serve it up, it melts immediately when it goes on the top. So you can see that nice mixture of herbs and spices right there. We'll pop this in the fridge to keep it cool, but not get hard. Let's go check on our steak. Let's take a look underneath and see how we're doing there. Ah, there we go. Okay, now we're going to flip it and turn it to get the hash marks on that. Remember, we're working with a really hot grill here. Another 2 minutes and then turn it. All right, now we're going to go for the turn, and we're going to move this to the hottest part of the grill for about 1 more minute. This is where the patience comes in. We got to take this steak off, and you got to let it rest for at least 5 minutes. I say 7 to 10. Check back in just a bit. Please wait before you cut this meat. As you can see, when I take this off, there's just a little bit of drippings left. What we're going to do is we're going to take our steak and we're going to bone it out. We're going to take the fillet and cut it off, okay? And you're thinking, why are you doing that? You'll see in just a moment. And then we take the New York and we just run the knife down here like so, and we take this off. Now we're going to save this bone because this is part of the presentation. We're going to put it back on our plate. So make sure you're working with a nice sharp knife. Let's do the New York strip first, and we'll just go ahead and cut this. And we're going for medium rare, which is what I think we've got here, and it's looking pretty good. Remember, your butter should be at room temperature because what you want that to turn into is your sauce. Okay, so there's that. We'll bring this over here like so, and we're going to just take this piece, put it right back there like that. And now we're going to fan it just a little bit like that. See how we got a nice little fan there? And now we're going to take that filet mignon and we're going to do the exact same thing. Some people are going to wrestle for this filet here. Personally, myself, I'm all about the New York strip because it's got more marbling and more flavor in it, in my mind, but to each his own. All right, so we take, let's get this out of the way here. Put this in position. Now we put that a little fan like that. So doesn't that look nice? Now we take a little dollop of our butter And this, once it gets on top of this, is gonna start to melt. And that is gonna turn into a beautiful little herb butter sauce. See, there we go, that's that. We take a little bit of parsley because we're looking to make this look really appealing. Wipe off that excess juice on the rim. We want to save it in the center because that's going to add to the flavor of this. So this is your grilled porterhouse with a garlic herb butter that is going to knock the socks off of everyone. And this is enough for 4 people because I'm telling you, this flavor is outstanding. This is cooking with Styles. How about a whole grilled chicken? It's simple, easy, and it's got a little French twist on it. Let's get cooking with Styles. I'm going to show you how to get this chicken prepped, but you can ask your butcher to do it for you. We've got a whole chicken here, and we're going to split it. You're going to run the big knife right down on one side of the rib cage and cut all the way through like that. Now on the other side of that backbone, you're going to put that knife again. See what I mean? You might want to have your butcher do this if you're a little squeamish. And now we're going to take the breastplate and just crack it. And we're ready to go. So we put this chicken in, drizzle a little bit of olive oil over the backside, and then we're going to season this. A little salt, good healthy pinch, garlic powder, a good healthy pinch, onion powder, a good healthy pinch. You get the idea. Pepper. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other side, skin side. Again, salt, pepper, garlic, and onion. Here's one trick I want you to pay attention to. Watch what I do with this wing. I take it and I bend it backwards and I tuck it underneath. If you missed it that time, one more time. Take the wing and tuck it underneath like that. And now we're ready to go. All right, let's go get this on the grill. I like to use a medium heat on this grill because we're gonna be turning this chicken multiple times. I've got the whole chicken and we're gonna put it flesh side down, meaning the skin is up. We're gonna just throw it on there like that, put the lid and turn it 3 or 4 times. We're ready for our first turn and we're gonna go skin side down. This is where it gets a little crucial. There you go, that first little char on there. We're gonna turn this about 3 or 4 times in the next hour. Our chicken's been on the grill for about 50 minutes to an hour. We've turned it multiple times on that medium-high heat. Look at how beautiful that thing turned out. Get it on a plate here and head over to the cutting board and serve this up. All right, that right there would be good enough to eat just the way it is, but we're gonna elevate it a little bit. Let's cut this chicken up. Just simple, right on the thighs there. The legs, cut that there, there. Split the breast in half, and then we're gonna go one more time because that's too much white meat for one person, I think. There you go. Get this on our tray, a little serving tray. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a nice, beautiful sauce on top of this. There's our olive oil. We've got our lemon juice already in there. A little bit of thyme, and a pinch of salt. Give this a good little stir. And so the lemon juice and the olive oil and that thyme will just really bring out the flavor. And we're just gonna drizzle that over the top. We're using the herbs that are fresh right now. And once the heat of the chicken hits those herbs, it's going to really bring out the flavor. And that, my friend, is my version of grilled chicken. A little bit different than Mexican style, got a little French twist in it.